Hey guys, it's Mike Man WBA here. We're back with episode 2 of Can't Stop Progress. It's our first show in Camden, chapter 46. We're hoping to improve on the moderate success of chapter 45 from Liverpool. Got a 43D there. I'm hoping for high 40s, maybe low 50s with this one. Just building slowly up. We have a massively stacked card here today. So let's get into it. So we start with Jim Smallman doing his traditional introduction to the Camden crowd here, introducing them and welcoming them to chapter 46. I like to chill out here and shoot some dinosaurs. Arguably the best wrestling show name of the 21st century. 33E plus there for Mr. Smallman. As we go into our first match, a solid tag team match that had decent wrestling but not a lot of heat, where the London Riots defeated the Hunter brothers in 14 minutes and 18 seconds, when Rob Lynch defeated Lee Hunter by pinfall with a district line. So the Hunter brothers picking up yet another loss, unfortunately. I believe that's 2 or 3 in a row there that they've lost. I think 3 losses in a row now for the Hunter brothers. But a good win for the Riots as they look to pick up a bit more momentum, get themselves back in that title picture. They've had wins over the Hunters now. They had a win over New Nation a couple of months ago, although they have had a loss, I believe, to Ring Camp and possibly a loss to South Pacific Power Trip recently. So they are looking to get back into it. Oh, and I believe they beat the Kings of the North as well from OTT. So solid performances all round there. Jim Hunter off his game. I believe he was the one off his game in the last show as well. So he was slightly lower, but Lee Hunter with a 47, Rob Lynch with a 48, James Davis with a 49. So very evenly matched teams there for a 47D. As we go into our second match, where in the second, I think that's the second semi-final of the Natural Progression Series to crown the first women's champion, where in a poor match, Toni Storm defeated Dahlia Black in 10 minutes and 5 seconds with a top rope leg drop. Dahlia Black and Toni Storm have a great chemistry, which is nice to see, showed in their performance, where Dahlia Black got a 37, Toni Storm got a 32 for a 36D minus rating. Toni Storm improving her technical skills. Probably one of the best female wrestlers in the company is Toni Storm. I believe she's a champion in Stardom, or maybe Shimmer. I think Shimmer, one of the two. As we go into our next match, in a decent match, Matt Riddle, the Atlas champion, defeated Walter in 13 minutes and 38 seconds by pinfall. Matt Riddle making defence number 1 of his Progress Atlas Championship title. So Walter hoping to improve, to continue his recent tag team success in singles actions, maybe make a push for inclusion into the Super Strong Style tournament. Losing out here to the Atlas champion Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle getting a 42. Walter getting a 33. I feel like that 33E plus rating was very harsh on them here, but apparently the bout dragged in the middle, lack of flow being noticeable, so maybe just went on a bit too long. Could have done with cutting a minute or 2 off that show there. So that match there, I should say. Not the best, but we go into our, I believe, 4th match, where in a decent tag team match, the Origin Nathan Cruz and Zach Gibson defeated the Origin Banter edition of Dave Mastiff and Al Ligero, when Nathan Cruz defeated Dave Mastiff by pinfall with an exit stage right. So the more serious Origin there, defeating the more fun-loving Origin members. Although, again, they're still called the Origin, really, I guess, both of them, but not a group now. They've split into their 2 factions, and Nathan Cruz and Zach Gibson picking up the win there. Nathan Cruz actually the lowest in-ring performance of the bunch there with a 43. Dave Mastiff getting a 47, Zach Gibson a 53 and Al Ligero a 54. No work improvements to comment upon there, but Nathan Cruz getting a win to avenge his loss to Morgan Webster in the last show. Zach Gibson on the winning side again, after of course defeating Jack Sexsmith in the last show with a bit of help from Cruz. No, that's a lie. He beat Al Ligero. James Drake beat Jack Sexsmith. So Zach Gibson 2 wins in a row over Al Ligero. Al Ligero is going to have to look to pick up a bit of momentum from somewhere. As we go into our next match, in a match that had decent wrestling but not a great amount of heat, TK Cooper defeated Jack Sexsmith in 12 minutes and 3 seconds by pinfall with a rock paper scissors kick. I've never heard it called that before. But after a distraction from his girlfriend Dahlia Black doing some good work at ringside, Jack Sexsmith getting a 34, TK Cooper getting a 36. So pretty much a standard TK Cooper match there. Some decent back and forth action before Dahlia makes herself involved, providing the distraction to allow TK to pick up the win. No worker improvements there. But as we see after the match, not the best rated angle, but maybe something possibly happening here, where when TK and Dahlia are in the ring celebrating after the match, Travis, rather than celebrating with TK and Dahlia, offers a handshake to Jack Sexsmith, showing respect for the match he put on with TK and the performances he's been doing as of late, which causing a little bit of friction there between Travis and TK. TK and Dahlia are not the happiest that Travis chose to congratulate their opponent rather than celebrate with the team. But so we'll have to see if anything happens from that as we go sort of into the top of the card here, sort of the getting towards the main event, where in a decent match, Axel Dieter Jr. defeated Mark Haskins in 20 minutes and 29 seconds by pinfall with a Regalplex. So Dieter Jr. doing what his tag partner couldn't and picking up the win here today over a very strong competitor in Mark Haskins in his, I believe that's his first singles match since coming back from injury. So not the return to singles action he would have hoped for, but losing to Axel Dieter Jr. is no real loss, no real problem there, because Axel Dieter Jr. is a fantastic worker. Dieter Jr. getting tired towards the end and Haskins off his game, leading to in-ring performances of 40 and 45. Not as good as I would hope for, considering the two workers involved, but we can deal with it. Haskins improving his rumble skills, so that match getting a 45D. As we go into our semi-main event, a match full of heat here, and a bout that had great heat and decent wrestling. Will Ospreay picks up his first win in, I believe, 15 months, when he defeats Jimmy Havoc in 13 minutes and 46 by pinfall with a 6:30 splash in this no disqualification match, I should add. During the match, Paul Robinson runs in and attacks Jimmy Havoc, creating a 2-on-1 situation for most of the match there. The Swords of Essex, Will Ospreay and Paul Robinson really beating up Jimmy Havoc here. Could potentially have caused some serious damage there. No worker improvements, but a 47D for that match. Ospreay not the happiest that he was in a hardcore match. His hardcore not the greatest, but you'll know that if you're a fan of Progress, you will know that that is happening in real life. This coming weekend, Ospreay versus Havoc in a Fans Bring the Weapons match. So if anyone has a spare cheese grater or any kind of weapon, maybe a McFlurry spoon or maybe a spare comb or something, make sure to bring that along so that Havoc can beat the living piss out of Ospreay, because I think we'd all love to see that. But back to this, as we go into the main event, where an unfortunately poor match, where in a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Pete Dunne defeated Mark Andrews in 19 minutes and 4 seconds by pinfall with a bitter end. Pete Dunne makes defence number 2 of his Progress Championship title. Mark Andrews, of course, being the number 1 contender from being the winner of the Thunder Bastard match from a couple of shows ago. I think our problem here was probably the length of the match. Both Andrews and Dunne tiring at the end. But they do have great chemistry, pretty good chemistry from being good friends. Match dragged in the middle, so definitely a bit too long. But Andrews with a 44, Pete Dunne with a 41, 37 D- match rating. Andrews improving his performance skills there. So we have a show rating of a 40 D-, not what I was hoping for at all. But I think the main problem here was some of my road agent notebooking. Messed up a little bit with Pete Dunne Andrews. Probably should have kept that a bit simpler. Same with Dieter Jr. and Haskins. That could have been a bit better. Was happy with the the Origin matchup. Probably the most disappointing match of the night, though, has to be the Riddle versus Walter match. In real life, I would expect that to do a lot better, but didn't really have the stamina or the psychology for a match as long as they had. So we're just gonna be nice to the Origin here. Nathan Cruz, Al Ligero and Zach Gibson, because I believe Mastiff had the lowest rating out of those 4. So they're going to get complimented on a good performance. They're all pleased. And we'll see what's happening in the post-show screen. Al Ligero asking for a little bit of time off. I believe he will. Our next show is actually going to be in another week's time. We started this save at probably the busiest point in Progress's history. 3 shows in 3 weeks. We've had the Manchester show, we've just had the Camden show, and in the next episode I'll be bringing you the Orlando special Progress vs Evolve card, which I'm hoping you guys are all going to be excited for, because I know I am. I believe, it's currently set for Saturday. We'll see how that goes. Might have to change that a little bit and have it on the Monday, which would be the night after WrestleMania. But, we're limited to who's going to be around due to other commitments and whether we can get the Evolve guys in time. But I have a stacked card prepared for you for that. So Marty Skull with some minor morale issues. He's upset at being left off both shows, but maybe he'll be back soon. Same with Zack Sabre Jr. has both missed 2 shows. Tyler Bate upset at missing a show. Mark Andrews still upset at that injury he took at the hands of Will Ospreay, and Paul Robinson also upset at being left off. That must have been the first show, because he was on that last show, although not in a match. So we'll have to see what's next for Paul Robinson. He's kept himself involved with that Will Ospreay and Jimmy Havoc feud. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. We'll see what the fans have said of the show. Been mainly positive. Company's won many friends, apparently. We sold out the ballroom, as the Progress tend to do. If we quickly look at our size, round the 20s everywhere in Britain. I would love to do a show in either Scotland or Ireland, but we're going to have to get a couple more people involved for that. Sorry, not a couple more people, I should say. We need to get a bit more popularity for that. and then hire a couple of local people before we do that show. I would love to do a show in Europe, maybe France or Italy. And then obviously we've got the America show, which could be hit and miss depending on how well that card goes, due to the fact we don't have the best pop in America with 2s and 3s. Obviously we're going to be in the southeast where Orlando is. But we're very, very close actually to becoming a regional company. We need to have over 29 importants in one region of the British Isles. We're currently at 28 in southern England. I'm actually just going to limit us to small at this time, just so that we can get towards the cap of small before we move into regional, just so we don't yo-yo if we have a poor show. I feel like Orlando might drop us down a little bit, so stick around if you're enjoying so far. This show, not the best match. Oh, that's the wrong button. Not quite as good as our first show, but actually slightly more viewers. It'd be interesting to see how many viewers we have for our next show, the Orlando show. But thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.